Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it is a September 12th, ready to take it on. It is a Monday, and I am super pumped that you're with us as we are getting ready to rock and roll, and we are going to be having some fun this week. We got a great week planned for you. As you know, it is a due month, and we are rocking and rolling with our plan. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the plan in fitness and health a little bit as we get into that this month. As you know, that's what this month is about. It's really kind of focusing us on health and really getting that energy to get into that health kick. And so what I've got for you this week is we're going to start off with a coach cast today, 4721, talking about training for the mirror. Tomorrow we're going to continue our book study going into chapters 3 and 4, Competing Against Luck, a little bit more of a business book, customer acquisition book, understanding innovation and not only disruption, but how we can really work our business. I'm loving the book, by the way. On Wednesday, we're going to get into this today a little bit, but then in depth on Wednesday. We're going to talk about training versus exercising. Thursday, of course, you can ask me any questions that you have, and we'd like to get those answered on Thursday and some updates there. Friday, we love Fridays. We're talking tracking physical health and mental health. How do we do it? What are some tips there? Saturday, then we do go into some training tips on our system today. And then Sunday, I got a good one for you, a little bit different. We're going to talk about cleaning the energy around you. So got a great week planned of really getting into this and talking about getting ourselves in a place where we are feeling better physically and mentally and really getting ourselves in a great position of, wow, I feel great today. And I know that's tough, right? But when you start feeling better and you have that health, you can have the energy to take on the things that are in front of you, handle the stress, and really build the things that you want to build, take chances. And overall, we just want to feel good. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? We want to feel good. And very important that we are working towards that. So when we do that, where am I coming up with this train for the mirror idea? Well, when I was training with Sir, and as you know, in case we've got a lot of new people, so you might not know the story, and sometimes these are okay to be resaid. But I was really losing a lot of weight. I was at a very stressful point in my life. This was back in 2009, just before we went paid. The money really wasn't coming in. We had a huge. The podcast was killing it. But there was no money back then. I was one of the original people doing this in 2007, 2008, 2009, all the way back to 2005, late 2005 we started. But it was really, really tough. And for me, I don't gain weight, I lose weight. When I'm overstressed, that's what happens. And I walked into this gym somebody had recommended, and Mike Lee Canarick was there, and it was Sir. And we met, and it wasn't the best of terms. I mean, he asked some questions that were pretty tough. And the reason he asked those questions is because he was testing me to see that he even wanted to work with me, kind of self-selecting if I was somebody that could come into the gym and work with him. And as I jumped into there and to start working with him, it really changed my life. And the first couple of years were kind of training and get to know him. But then as I really got into it, we literally would do boot camps in the morning at 5 in the morning and then come back at 10, 11 o'clock, and I would do training and then come back at night at 8 o'clock. And we would bookend it. We were all in some of the best shape of our life. And I obviously came out of a funk, and that's when I went paid, and everything changed for me. I put a lot of the changes in my life to getting healthy. I think it just really made a difference in my life. Just as now, my body isn't as great a shape because we're getting the gym finished right now. And I'm not training as hard, even though I'm back into it. I am back into it now, and that's what I'm using this month for. But mentally, I think I'm stronger even than then because of meditation and the mental health aspect that I'm doing it. But why do I take you there? Well, because here's what he told me that really changed everything for me. And he said this, and this is what I want you to get today. You take one thing away, heck, you take one day away a month, then you're getting an ROI and you're invested in this coaching system, right? But if you can take one thing away, a couple times a week, we're hitting home runs. And this was big for me, and I want you to take this away. And it was this, that when you train, you don't train for the mirror. You train for something else. And we're going to get into this in depth on Wednesday, but we're going to talk about it a couple days because it's really important. And at that point, I used to train for the mirror. I was skinny. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to get stronger and look good in that mirror. But what Sir said was so profound that it really changed the way that I thought about exercising. It was like, you don't need to worry about the mirror. If you do the right things, the mirror will take care of itself. And like he told me back then, he said, if you do the right things and you train the way I teach you to train, we don't worry about the mirror. We're going to worry about tactical combat situations. We're going to get your body ready to move when it needs to move. We're going to get you healthy in a way you've never been healthy before. We're going to get you fit. If you do those things, one day you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to go, wow, I look pretty good. Instead of training for the mirror where you're never satisfied and you've got your own psychosis, right? Your own mental issues where you're looking at the mirror and you're trying to train for the mirror. And that was very profound. I know it seems so basic, but it's something that most trainers and most people in the health world don't even discuss this. That it's so important that we stop worrying about the vanity of the mirror and we worry about just taking care of the basics. And here's what's so awesome about this. Even in life and everything we do, you're going to hear me continue to pound the desk and say, stop worrying about the results. Just focus on the activity and the results will come. If you get too tangled up in the results, all of a sudden you stop doing the activity because the results don't come. Now, I'm just now getting back into YouTube, got the studio rolling, starting to get back into it. But the results weren't great the last couple of months, and so the activity declined. I lost motivation. I wasn't doing as much. And yes, I'm going through some significant life changes, but the truth is I could have still been shooting some videos here and there, and if the results were coming and we were growing and things were happening, I would have stayed on track, right? But it really wasn't. And so it's like, okay, well then I don't need to really keep going, right? I'll just wait. And same thing with our bodies. It's like we don't see immediate results, or worse, this is what happens to most people, is we get some results. We start getting some results and then we plateau. And we stop. And we stop because we've plateaued, or we get bored, right? And we move on to something else. And so that's why it's so critical that today and Wednesday, we're going to spend so much time on getting ourselves to start training for something, building for something. It's just like a goal. You know, a goal without a why is a wish. And when we are out there setting things and we're coming to the end of the year and I'm working on the new planner and we're getting it organized for the next year, we're working on some technology to incorporate it into Evernote, and I'm really working hard to get all that in place. And right now I'm getting that in place so we're really structured. But when we do that, we need to be working towards something. So we've got the Get It Done Now program. You tie into this, and I'm telling you it's a due month or a check month. So there's nothing better, and we usually do checks every quarter, right? So here's what I want you to think about. I'm not going to tell you to put this in the plan because we have so much going on in the plan already. But if you want to, I'm not going to direct you to this, but if health is an issue for you and you wanted to make it an issue, then what I would do is I would set up a schedule to train for something every quarter. Okay, so every quarter you're building towards something. Every quarter you're training. And again, Wednesday we're going to get into this even in more depth. But I want you to think about that, and I'm trying to get back on track. So let's look at a couple areas. Mental, nutrition, resistance training, cardio. Look at those specific areas, okay? So we've got mental health. One thing that a lot of people don't really discuss, but it's getting bigger and bigger out there, but our own mental health is really critical. So what can we do to track our own mental health? I would love if you want to jump in Discord and have a conversation about that. You're more than happy or welcome to do that. But the idea is, what are the things that you can do in order for mental health? So what comes to mind right away for me is meditation, and consistently doing meditation every day, even if it's 2 minutes, but doing some type of meditation and using the consistency tracker to know that I'm working on something with mental health. The other thing that you could kind of track for is your structuring of the things you're going to do. As I've mentioned before, one of my new life rules, and we have life rules in our plan. If you're new, we're going to be doing all of this and again in December. But the life rule that I have now is 2 vacations a year, and I'm planning those for next year, and 3 masterminds a year. And I have 3 coming up. I have 1 in Austin in November, then I have Cabo, and then I got Croatia, and then I've got 1 more I've got to plan, and somebody wants me to come to Colombia. With that being said, I'm building the retreat center, and I'm going to be doing 8 to 9 retreats myself, But those don't fit into this. Like, I don't want to be running the mastermind. I want to go, right? So that's a mental health break for me, forcing myself to take a vacation, forcing myself. So those are a couple things I think I can track and put on the schedule and work towards from mental health. Let's talk about nutrition. Okay, nutrition is one of those that, again, I think consistency is a thing that we should be tracking. How many days in a row did we eat right? How many hours in the day did we eat right? You know, we're going to give ourselves one cheat meal a week. Are we going to give ourselves a day to cheat? Are we going to get that structured in our nutrition? I am personally now. I haven't been. I've been in a move. I've been going crazy, and it's time for that season to start. Remember, we talked about seasons. It's time for my season of health and fitness, getting back in shape. I'm buying some equipment for the gym. I'm organizing my gym, and I'm getting into it. And I've never had a gym in my house, but my whole plan is to get up in the morning and work out. And obviously that gets disrupted sometimes, but early in the morning, do my workout, get in my steam room that I'm building and start my day, do a cold plunge steam room, do a workout, and I'm ready to go. And so for me, nutrition then, I think the thing is the consistency of it. I'm going to be doing 1 to 2 cheat meals a week. And then consistently, the breakfast has got to be on point. That lunch has got to be on point. And then the dinner or the supplementation meal that I do in the evening, I typically, and I learned this in Colombia years ago, you eat breakfast as a king, you eat lunch as the queen, and you eat dinner as the pauper or the poor person. So basically, you just big breakfast, smaller lunch, and then less of a dinner. The opposite of what they do here in the United States. But again, I also eat light, smaller meals. But I do eat a big breakfast. I believe in a big breakfast and then smaller meals throughout the day. But nutrition is such a critical component. I laugh because I remember the PX90 or PX90 was really big. And the big thing was people were getting great results from it, and they drove it from a business standpoint on testimonials. Well, the reason that they were getting so good results, it was the first kind of infomercial that literally they added nutrition, right? So just by adding nutrition, the people that were buying that program were so out of shape, and then they could have moved and did anything, they would have felt better. But then they added a nutrition component, and people were getting huge results. So when it comes to your health, nutrition, we are what we eat, and we've got to really be cautious of what we're eating and then understanding our scheduling with that. So again, what can we track? The consistency. Did I eat good today? Was I on track? Did I have an extra protein shake? Is my protein high enough? Am I intaking things? And we don't have to get OCD on this, but just finding out those areas. Remember, when we talk about the Get It Done Now plan, what areas are we particularly working on? What are the things that we're working on currently? We're in a due month, so I'm not asking you to shift your plan right now. I'm talking about our future planning and health becoming a portion of that. And I do believe that health needs to be a part of your Get It Done Now plan. I feel it's an important part of your Get It Done Now plan. Okay. And then the other two areas are really critical, resistance and cardio. Resistance tends to get kind of a bad rap because people think it's about lifting weights, right? But it's really not about lifting weights. It's about getting stronger and maintaining muscle. Okay, so that's one part of your training. And I think you could do like kind of a weight amount. Now, personally, I'm not into moving weight anymore. I'm not trying to be a deadlifter or be a power lifter. I'm doing strength training for combat fitness and strength so I can be able to react and be able to pick stuff up and lift stuff, and also for some shaping. And I think that's another part. So the two things I think you could do with resistance training is the weight amount. Am I getting stronger? And actually, the way I look at that is in my bench. If I get up to 55, 60 pounds and I'm doing dumbbells, I don't do a lot of bench press anymore, but if I'm doing dumbbells with my chest, I know I'm getting stronger. And I can't get above that. If I start getting too strong, I can start getting tight. I don't play good golf. But knowing that and understanding that resistance is great. Right now, I'm probably down to about 40, 45 pounds because I haven't been doing that. And so now I got a lot of work to do to build back up to that. But an amount you could track. And again, remember what I'm talking about in our Get It Done Now plan. We kind of work in quarters. And so it's okay. This quarter, it's September, October, November, December. We're finishing up the third, going into the fourth. This is a good time for me to check next month where I'm at and get this exercise program in place. Okay? Because part of the issue, and this is okay with our plan, is there's major flexibility in it. And it's like, okay, I need to kind of shape up my sacred six and organize a little bit. It's okay to do that anytime. I want you to stay structured. But if you have a significant life challenge like I've had with a move, then we need to make some changes. So resistance can be an amount or maybe shaping. It's inches. Do I want to add an inch to my arms? Do I want to take an inch off my arms? What do I want to do as far as body shaping? That we can do resistance training. And then cardio. So many things we can track. And again, Wednesday we'll talk about training for, but lowering resting heart rate. Gosh, how important is that? I think cardio is one of the most important things we do. I mean, heart disease is still the number one killer, right? Getting a higher HRV, being able to handle stress, that comes from cardio and nutrition and then sleep. Sleep you can also track, okay? I don't have that on my list today, but that's something you can track. And a lot of these, like sleep and some of those metrics like low resting heart rate and high, you can use trackers for that. But you can also really get yourself understanding your time. So one of the things with cardio is, if you're a 5K like I am, which is what I like, is to get that sub 21 minute 5K. You know, kids are running in 15, 16 minutes. Most people my age are 25 plus. I want to stay in that 21, 22 minute 5K. That means I'm running a 7 minute and some mile. That's pretty cool. So understanding that as you start to organize, and again, Wednesday we're going to get into this in depth about finding things to train for, but I want to get your mind away from the mirror. Does that make sense? You're going to hear me talking about this in all the things that we do. Let's get away from the results and focus on the things we're going to do to get there. And the results will come, and then we'll push past the results. You know, back when I used to have salespeople, it was amazing. Some of my best salespeople would set a goal, they would hit the goal, and then would never go higher than that. And part of the problem was they were so focused on the results, and when they got there, it was over. And same thing with a lot of people that run a marathon for the first time. It's like, I want to run a marathon. They run a marathon, and they actually have depression because they don't know what's next. And we don't want to do that. We want to train for things, but not focus on the result, right? We want to just keep getting better. Focus on improvement. Kaizen in Japan. Constant and never-ending improvement. And that's what we're doing here. We Get It Done Now. That's our whole program. And that's what I've been doing my entire life, and why things keep getting better and better, because I'm constantly improving as an individual. And every day I do that, I get better and better and better. And that's why we work this plan together every single day. So let's get out there and have a great one. Let's put some good energy out there. Remember, the Ignite program and Freedom program are still running. If you have a friend that needs this type of energy, send them over to morningcoach.com, get them started. We've got a new program coming that we're going to be announcing real soon, and also the retreats are going to be happening, so I can't wait to announce those as we keep rocking and rolling, moving forward here on Morning Coach. But get out there, get a great start of the week. You know I love you. Let's keep the energy positive, and let's not train for the mirror. Let's start focusing in on things that are going to help us get there, which is the activities that we do, and we don't worry about the results. Tomorrow we got the book study. And then Wednesday, we're going to get in depth about some ideas on things you can train for versus exercising and what that actually means. It's a pretty deep subject. Okay, so I love you. Get out there, have a great week, and I'll be back tomorrow right here on morningcoach.com.